And it's
Yummy.
just grains that are tossed with chimichurri. And
It
then
looks very fall.
we roasted squash with chimichurri, and we added in like a little cranberry, a little walnut, and a little goat cheese.
Yeah, I'm trying to get like the perfect bite.
I know. Well, every bite's like a little party in your mouth. You know? Like different little things going on in every bite.
The warm squash with the crunchy nuts.
And then a little bit of the tangy cranberry.
Really good. Yummy.
Yay.
It's like almost like sweet and spicy at the same time. Really good.
I'm Allie, the founder of Haven's Kitchen, and today we're going to be making a beautiful roasted squash fall Buddha bowl. Basically, starting in like October, I like to eat a lot of squash and roast potatoes and root vegetables. And this is one of the best possible ways to make them. You basically roast the squash, and then whatever grains you have around or whatever grains you like, you make the base of the bowl, and then really just adding in really beautiful nuts and raisins, or, you know, in this case, dried cranberries and a little bit of goat cheese. And it's all brought together with our herby chimichurri. You can find our herby chimichurri on our website, or just go to the store locator on our website, type in your zip code, and we're in about 2,000 stores across the US. All you really need for this is a bowl to toss your squash, a baking pan to roast your squash, and we're going to use tongs to sort of toss the squash with olive oil and chimichurri. One thing that I did before the video was I peeled the squash, and you can just use a very simple peeler to peel all of the skin away from your squash. It will help it cook a little faster, and you won't have to be like eating around the skin. Before we get started, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. So again, we talk a lot about roasting vegetables just with like a little bit of olive oil and using the chimichurri as sort of the roasting oil. You're basically coating it with olive oil, oregano, parsley, a little bit of red pepper flake, a little bit of capers, and giving it sort of flavor from the inside out. We have a lot of recipes where we use the chimichurri to roast other vegetables. We have one really good one where we make a kale salad, but we make croutons out of chickpeas instead of bread, and we toss the chickpeas with chimichurri. What's the name of that one for everyone?
It's the garlicky kale salad with crispy chimichurri chickpeas.
What she said. So basically all I'm doing is I'm just giving these a nice toss. The great thing about all of our sauces is because they are so jam-packed with flavor, a little goes a long way. So you can see I really didn't need a lot to coat all of my veggies. And you do want to make sure that all of your bites of squash are two things. One, you want them pretty much evenly sized. You will hear me say a lot, if you have a piece this big and a piece this big, they're not going to cook at the same time. So we have nice even pieces, and you also want to make sure that they're evenly coated with the chimichurri, which has a little olive oil in it, but we added in a little bit more olive oil just to make sure we have a good coat. And because we have all this flavor, we don't need much salt. So I'm basically just going to spread out all of my squash. If you don't want to use squash, you can use sweet potatoes, you can use carrots, you can use parsnips, really any root vegetable. And that's what's so fun about the fall, all of those different root vegetables. And it's so easy to eat like a hearty meal without any meat. Just by making root vegetables roasted, you get that really yummy umami kind of flavor. But in order to get a really good roast, and you want that caramelization around each piece, you want to do a little bit of spreading out so that the pieces aren't on top of each other, but they're sort of spread out among the pan so that the hot air can really circulate around each individual piece of squash. Now I'm just going to do a really tiny bit of salt and pop this in a really, really hot oven for about 25-30 minutes. We really want it at 425, and we want it really preheated. So when we say preheat, that means give it like a good half an hour to come up all the way. It's like 425. Then put in your sheet pan. So while the squash is in the oven roasting, I'm going to season my grains. You can use quinoa, rice, barley, anything you want really, farro. We just kind of had a couple leftover grains, and so we threw them all together. And instead of doing any kind of vinaigrette or anything like that, we're just doing a little bit more chimichurri, imbuing it with all of those delicious flavors, giving it a good toss. And basically this is going to be the base. Now, if we wanted to make this without the grains, all we would really be doing is making a beautiful platter of roasted squash with some goat cheese and some walnuts and some dried cranberries on top, which is also really good. So we're done with this. And basically all I'm going to do is just sort of plate it. It's like a beautiful bed. I'm going to put my roasted squash right on top, and then all I'm going to do is crumble some goat cheese on top, sprinkle on my dried cranberries, my walnuts, and that's it. Ooh, wow, these look amazing. Yum. We've got that nice caramelization, but also they're nice and tender inside, so it's kind of perfect. And now I'm just gonna take these up, kind of place them on my bowl. I love the way that like the sweet kind of nuttiness of the squash combines with the texture of the grains. And then, you know, like we always talk about this, you get a little bit of like fruity chewy from the dried fruit and a little bit of creamy salty, a little briny from the goat cheese. So now this is good. If you don't have dried cranberries, I love dried cherries. I love golden raisins. If you want these to be plumper, you can put them in like a little warm water before you put them on. This looks delicious. And now again, if you don't want goat cheese in here, that's your choice. I happen to love goat cheese. Bridget, do you like goat cheese?
Yes.
Bridget likes goat cheese. Okay. So yeah, for your friends who don't eat meat, this is a great Thanksgiving option because it's very festive and sort of like harvesty and autumnal. And you don't need turkey. And now the final little dash of walnuts. Again, if you don't have walnuts, you can use almonds. You could use cashews, you could use, toasted pumpkin seeds would be really delicious, especially playing with the squash. And then I'm just gonna do a little bit more sauce at the end here. Just a little drizzle of sauce. All right, Bridget. Here, maybe I'll clean this up.
Ooh,
Look
looks
at what
pretty.
we made. Yes, and it's just
Yummy.
grains that are tossed with chimichurri. And
It
then
looks very fall.
we roasted squash with chimichurri, and we added in like a little cranberry, a little walnut, and a little goat cheese.
Yeah, I'm trying to get like the perfect bite.
I know. Well, every bite's like a little party in your mouth. You know, like different little things going on in every bite.
The warm squash with the crunchy nuts.
And then a little bit of the tangy cranberry.
Really good. Yummy.
Yeah.
It's like almost like sweet and spicy at the same time. Really good. Yummy. Thank you.
Yeah. Keep that spoon. Thank you so much again for cooking with us. Again, I'm Allie, and you can find Haven's Kitchen sauces at havenskitchen.com or at a store near you. If you want the recipe, it's linked in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and happy cooking.